Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jess.
And I'm Ollie.
And welcome to Judging Nerd Culture.
Welcome indeed. So today we're going to be talking about Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Me too. It was a heck of a watch. And I actually don't have anything that I heard about this week because I got distracted with the holidays and having a good time and getting a bunch of dope-ass presents. What about you? Did you hear anything interesting this week?
Political. Just that I believe Donald Trump is telling people to get vaccinated.
Well, that's...
And his old OG followers are not super happy about it. So Trump got his booster shot, and a lot of his fangirls and just his big old fandom were very upset about it.
Wow.
Yeah, go figure. Yeah, they kind of like were stunned that and said that he was lying to them, and they couldn't believe he'd done such a thing.
I mean,
really? I mean, I am surprised he got the vaccine. That is a thing.
I did not know that was a thing that happened. That's hilarious in a weird way.
Well, we'll see if it changes anybody's mind in the next election. Hopefully.
I gotta hope so.
Anyway, politics. What are you gonna do? That was the only thing I learned this week that was new. I got a new book. Slewfoot. It's a horror book by Brom. I have just started it and not gotten very far, but so far it's pretty interesting, and it has really cool art in it, done by Brom himself, I'm pretty sure. Oh, so that's interesting.
A bit of an artist then.
I think so.
All right.
So, would you like to get started with Spider-Man? Let everybody know that there's going to be some spoilers. About, I don't know, halfway in, like after the descriptor or the synopsis of the movie. It's really hard to talk about a movie without putting any spoilers into it, especially when it's, a super exciting movie that people have been waiting on for a long time. But we will do our best at first not to give away anything.
At least nothing too important. So yeah, I think we should jump right in there. Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yes.
The synopsis of this particular romp is that Spider-Man, after having his identity revealed by Mysterio, which we found out at the end of the last movie, he has a hard time because people are bad. People take Mysterio's weird photoshopped CGI bullshit of version video of
his deep fake.
It is a deep fake of Tom Holland Spider-Man murdering Mysterio and threatening the lives of many individuals. And this puts Peter and his family and his friends into a federal investigation, and all sorts of nasty things start happening. Supporters come out of the woodworks for him and for Mysterio, and he has a difficult time going back to school, trying to go off to college. All this stuff is starting to really come down on his personal home life, really getting affected by Spider-Man.
And not only affecting him, but the people around him as well.
Exactly.
Like his friends and MJ are not getting into good colleges because of it. His aunt got kicked out of her apartment because of it. There's a lot, that was like a lineup of dominoes.
A cascade of chaos and mishaps. And in order to fix this, he turns to Doctor Strange, or Steven, as he calls him, who helps him solve this by trying to alter reality.
Because that's a good idea.
That's a totally reasonable thing to... my life is back. Can you help me?
Yes, this adult man decides, hey, this is a good idea. I'll help this young kid out by literally altering the fabric of reality. And then when it goes wrong, it is all of his fault and not, the responsible adult's fault for letting this child do this.
Yeah, I 100% blame Doctor Strange for everything that happened in that movie.
He should just said, No.
He also did not give any like instructions or whatever during the spell. He was just like, "Ah, don't change anything." And he's just like, "Oh, but what about this thing?"
Yeah,
blah, blah.
like they should have talked about exactly what the spell was. Like when you go to the doctors and they explain the surgery, it should have been like that. It should have been, "Hey, Tom, no, that's not his name, Peter. This is how the spell is going to work. This is what I'm going to need you to do. Sit back, relax, whatever, we got this." Or, what I think would have helped more would have been to sit Peter down and talk to him like an adult and figure out the exact problem and how to fix it without using magic first.
Yeah.
Seems like the best idea, but
Instead,
he was bored. He's bored and he thinks he's special and powerful. So
yeah. So instead, we got this mayhem-inspired movie, and after he does the spell, Spider-Man villains throughout many different universes start appearing in Tom Holland's Earth, which I guess is Earth 616, probably. I don't know. I don't really know Marvel as well as DC, so I don't know which Earth is supposed to be. But he gets attacked by all of these other Spider-Man villains who at one point or another realize, oh, this isn't Spider-Man that we know, blah, 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 blah. And he has to work with his friends, his allies, everyone he, available to him, and maybe kind of fight Steven a little bit, argue his way through with the adult to try and solve this horrible problem. And overall, beautiful movie. I loved this movie. It makes me laugh. It made me cry. It made me really consider the fact that there's a lot of things that you really should change about Stephen Strange and a bunch of other people. Like, there's a lot of character flaws everywhere, and that's lovely to think about.
I mean, there's character flaws in everybody in real life.
I mean, yeah. I'm just saying, he's a doctor. He should have thought.
Hey, some doctors are dumb. Okay.
Some doctors are
real douchebags.
And he sure is. But yeah, I personally thought this was probably one of the better Spider-Man movies in general, just because it knew exactly what it wanted to give the audience, and it gave them exactly what the audience wanted. Like it was fan service in a way, a lot of what happened, but I think it was done well, which is a thing that's hard to do with fan service and giving the audience what they want.
Yeah.
So the fact that they did it right is impressive in general. So yeah. I don't even know what to rate it, but that's all.
I mean, I would rate it a 10.
Yeah, 10 probably is. Yeah, 10. But that's all we got for the spoiler-free section. Ready for the spoiler section?
I'm ready.
So, spoilers. There's 3 Spider-Men, which is the big spoiler that people weren't supposed to tell anyone. There's 3 of them, and they're all there. It's beautiful. Alright.
I feel like there's more spoilers than that.
I mean, there's more than that, but that's the big one. That's the one everyone cared about. You know?
So yeah, all of these villains from, well, you'd say all of these different universes, but really it's just 2 other universes.
Yeah, it's just the others.
start attacking Peter Parker, Tom Holland, in his own universe. At first, they think, it's their Spider-Man. And the first villain we see is Dr. Octavius.
Dr. Otto Octavius.
Yeah.
What a name.
So good. He's such a good character. In the Tobey Maguire movies, he was spectacular. Mm-hmm. But in this one, he had better technology to help him move around instead of having, different people wiggle his tentacles, robot tentacles for him. And in this one, he could, move around and, actually physically be more physical in his acting, which was really nice. And he really just came off as kind of a good guy.
Yeah, he wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, eventually they do help him not be a bad guy, which is lovely because there are multiple scenes where Spider-Men help the bad guys kind of overcome their whatever. And I don't really care too much about all of them, but specifically Dr. Otto, Octavius, and the Green Goblin, their scenes of like getting help, they're so good.
They're very good. I also enjoyed Sandman.
Yeah, I mean, just the idea that he's...
So those are just all three of Tobey Maguire's villains.
Yeah, I would agree. I just think generally he has better villains, but to be fair, they did not bring any of the villains from, Spider-Man 3.
Yeah. It's true. I think Tobey Maguire's villains were more human, like they had more human emotions, and like, none of them their evilness was necessarily their fault. Like, obviously they could have tried to go in a different direction, but when it came to like Green Goblin, it was literally like, Jekyll and Hyde sort of situation. He couldn't control when he was evil. So like his villains were more, I don't know, like good guys who had it bad. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, they're more sympathetic.
Maybe not good guys, but like better people than what you imagine a villain to be.
Yeah, 100%.
Like Sandman just wanted to get back with his daughter and like be whole again and not particles.
He just fell in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah.
And boop, now I'm a sand boy. I can never see my child again. Like, that sucks.
Yeah.
And I feel like I think that's one of the reasons that people tend to like the Tobey Maguire movies more than the Andrew Garfield ones. Because I think they both did a fine job as Spider-Man / Peter Parker in, their own respective ways. But I think the original Spider-Man movies just had better villains. Green Goblin was one.
He's the best.
Without a doubt. I mean, Willem Dafoe, he doesn't just chew on the scenes, he eats them whole. Like, he goes all in, and it's amazing. The actor who played Dr. Octavius, he also really enjoyed being a bad guy. Like, it looked like he was having so much fun just being a real right ass. It's so good. And I just don't think that the villains in the Andrew Garfield movies were quite as likable.
Yeah, nothing against Jamie Foxx or anything. Like, he's a decent actor and seems like a decent guy, but like his character, oh shoot, I forget his name.
Electro?
Is it Electro?
I think so.
I know his name is Max, but I wasn't sure if Electro.
Or Shocker.
Shocker. Everybody in high school knows what that is. But Jamie Foxx's character, he, Electro Boy, his storyline was strange to me, and when I watched the movie, the Andrew Garfield movie, it just didn't work very well, because it's Jamie Foxx. And they tried to make Jamie Foxx look like a nerd. They tried so hard, giving him like buck teeth and glasses and like slicked, weird, greasy, thin hair. And it's like, come on, it's still Jamie Foxx. Like, it's this is weird, not believable at all. It's like Anne Hathaway in Princess. It's not Princess Bride.
No, that's not Princess. That would be wild.
In Princess Diaries, trying to look dorky and she's still beautiful. Like, it didn't seem realistic. And then when he did get his powers and he was suddenly gorgeous again, gorgeous Jamie Foxx again.
Yeah, because electricity makes you hot.
I guess so. And he was like, oh, I'm hot now and I got powers. I'm full of myself. I'm a cool guy. I want all this power. And it was like, to a point where it was like, okay, well, this isn't intimidating. It's kind of annoying. You're not that cool, Electro Boy.
Yeah.
Like, calm down.
To be honest, Jamie Foxx's character, Electro, I looked up, it is Electro, not Shocker. That's a different Spider-Man character. the issue that I have with him in the Garfield movies and in this one, honestly, is that he's sort of like starts off as like a weird incel, and then has sex one time and just it becomes a huge asshole.
Yeah.
Like it's insufferable.
Mm-hmm.
Like still the same attitude of like I should have everything, but fuck off. Whatever. He's truly unlikable.
Mm-hmm.
And like they make it seem like people are mean to him. And it's like, well, okay.
Yeah, he's a douchebag. Like he's acting like a jerk. But he just in No Way Home, they try to make it seems the villains likable, right? Because Tom Holland and the other Spider-Men are trying to save them. They're trying to change their fate so that when they go back to their universe, they don't die, right? Make them into better people so they make better choices.
Except
Jamie Foxx. And it's like, okay, we get it. Max is a bad guy. He's a villain. He's the one that's going to be the hardest to save, you know, because he's real deep and he wants the power. And it's like, okay, well, you should have made him like the side villain. You should have made Willem Dafoe the big bad. And like in the end, he kind of is, but he's also the one who like wants the most help and who wants to help the Spider-Men.
Yeah, I think Electro, the way he's set up for a good chunk of the movie, makes him seem like he's going to be the one leading the Sinister Six, but he's not. He's just there. And all of the other characters, they have some progress that they want to make. Like, they all genuinely want something. He just wants more power. Like, that's a crap motivation.
Yeah, he's just horny for, like, Tony Stark's superconductor thing that he made. And it's just a really basic plot line for him. And it doesn't really give him any character other than, I'm a villain because people were mean to me. Look how cool I am now. I want to be more cool.
Yeah. You know what would have been more interesting is if they got the other Green Goblin from the Andrew Garfield movie and those Green Goblins, interacted.
That would have been more interesting.
That would have been more interesting. And
like that's the only bad thing about this movie was, unfortunately, the plot line of Jamie Foxx's Electro.
Yeah, and again, Jamie Foxx has done a great job in other roles.
Yeah.
I just don't think this is the one.
It's not his fault that they gave him this plot line, Yeah. If they would have given him a different direction, in life, I guess.
In life.
And then Electro would have been more interesting,
Yeah. But oh well, that a blemish in an otherwise movie, I think is not.
Yeah.
It's important to bring it up, but it's not going to ruin it or anything.
Yeah.
It's not going to bring down anyone's enjoyment of this movie, believe me. And you know why?
Why?
Because when the Spider-Men are together, there is magic.
There is magic.
There's magic on screen.
Like, I know people were really worried that, like, it wasn't going to happen because Tobey Maguire just doesn't have social media. So he was just not a part of it.
And Andrew Garfield hated being asked.
Yeah, he was very aggressively against it. And Tom Holland impressively didn't say anything. No, not a peep. And so people were worried that it wasn't going to happen, or like if it did happen, it wouldn't be what everybody who's been waiting for this had hoped. Like, I was worried that it was going to be, like, a little cameo or a mention of Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield or something,
Like an after-credit scene?
Yeah. But, in the movie, there's a scene where Ned ends up, Peter Parker, Tom Holland's friend Ned, ends up with the ring, with Stephen Strange's ring.
The sling ring, I think it's called?
Yeah. And he opens his portal because he wants to see Peter Parker. He wants to see his friend. He wants to help him because, something big just happened. Like, the apartment building blew up, I believe. And his Aunt May had, unfortunately, passed. So he thinks of Peter. He opens his portal. And immediately you can... If you don't know it's going to be, the big reveal, you're like, oh, he just... Awesome, Ned opened a portal. But if you look at it, he looks different.
Oh yeah, Andrew Garfield is so much lankier than all of the other two. The second he started to move, I was like, I know who that is.
Yeah, like when he was just standing there, I was like, well, maybe it is Tom Holland, and he's been hurt, so he's kind of like hunched a little. But no, it was just that weird way that Andrew Garfield stands sometimes when he's Spider-Man, and he runs at the portal because why not? And he takes that mask off, and oh my god, it was so exciting.
It was very good. His first encounter with them was great.
Yeah,
I think Andrew Garfield does a very good job in this movie in particular. I think he did a better job in this movie than in his own movies.
Yeah, honestly, I think so. But he's had time, he's had time to be an actor more, I think when he was in the Spider-Man movies, he he was still fresh to acting, and he's had time to grow, and he did a great job as Spider-Man.
Yes, he did. I really liked when he first showed up and talked with Ned and MJ, because they were so skeptical of him. They were, testing him, and it was very good.
Yeah, so throwing biscuits at him, bread at him.
Made him jump up to the ceiling.
Yeah.
And, he stuck to it. He's like, I don't know. That's not convincing enough. Like, fuck off, MJ.
Crawl across the ceiling. Show us how it's done.
And he looks so dumb with it. Like, this isn't enough? What do you want from me?
Yeah. It's so good. And then, 5 minutes later, Ned opens another portal to get to Peter. And it's the boy. It's the best boy. It's Tobey Maguire. Not even in his suit. Just in, as Andrew Garfield says, a cool youth pastor outfit. And it is the best moment. The Andrew Garfield moment is exciting and it's wonderful. But it doesn't hit anywhere near the target as close to the target as Tobey Maguire does.
Well, yeah, because don't get me wrong, Andrew Garfield, I actually do like his original Spider-Man movies. I enjoy them, despite what other people say. But my first Spider-Man, that's Tobey Maguire. This is...
Yeah, I think a lot of us, our Spider-Man is Tobey Maguire. When we think of Spider-Man, we think of Tobey Maguire. There's Tom Holland now, but the best, the best of the best,
Yeah, even when I mentioned Spider-Man whatever, I'm never gonna say Spider-Man 1, 2, or 3 referring to the Tom Holland movies.
No,
that's specifically Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, Spider-Man is just Tobey Maguire. Amazing Spider-Man, that's Andrew Garfield. But then when it's Tom Holland, it's Spider-Man No Way Home, Spider-Man Far From Home, Spider-Man this,
Yeah.
It's just how it is.
So yeah, it hit right when they finally showed up.
Yeah.
But even more than that, they had a wonderful chemistry together, the three of them, as Spider-Men. Very much a eldest brother / dad figure to younger brothers. And
sad middle brother.
This is what
and little baby brother who needs all the attention and help.
Yeah, this is the thing that got me back to Andrew Garfield. I think one of the reasons that I like this movie so much is because he did a really good job bringing 80% of the emotions after he showed up.
Yeah, because he's the emotional middle brother.
He had so
Tobey Maguire had those sad, wise eyes, he was soft-spoken, he was chilled out, he was just trying to help and be there and find his way home. Tom Holland, he's erratic because a lot of things are happening in his universe right now.
Yeah, he doesn't have time to be just sad. He's sad and terrified and everything else.
Yeah, but Andrew Garfield was just happy to be with two other Spider-Men.
Yeah, there was a thing that he mentioned in the character said in the when they finally met up with current Peter, and he was just saying that in his timeline, or in his storyline, some time ago, months, maybe a couple years, whatever, is when Gwen died for him, and since then he's been getting real aggressive with his villains and just going down a dark path. And I don't know. That is already just enough that I'm like, okay, let's see what's going on with our little Spider-Man. And the moment that obviously we have to talk about a little bit when MJ gets tossed off of a structure.
The Statue of Liberty.
Thank you. Off the Statue of Liberty, and Tom Holland tries to save her for like a second, but he gets taken away immediately. And then
he almost reaches her, and then Green Goblin zooms by and snatches him.
But it's fine because here comes Andrew Garfield. And he saves her, and he's just standing there on the ground, like holding her, like having just saved her life, and he stares at her and is like about to weep. Like,
he has that little chin wobble, and he asks her if she's okay, and she's like, "Yeah, are you okay?" Because it's heartbreaking for him.
It was so good though,
and heartbreaking for the viewers. Because if you've seen, I guess did Andrew Garfield have 3 movies or just 2?
I think he only had 2.
Okay, so if you've seen all 5 of the originals or whatever, at least the Andrew Garfield ones, you know what happened, and he's sad about it, and it just breaks your heart when you watch it, because all through the movie he brings her up, and each time he is sad about it. And when MJ is falling, you see Andrew Garfield's face when he realizes what's happening, when he realizes Tom Holland is not going to be able to reach her. The camera switches to his face, and in that split second you can see the terror in his face, because he does not want that to happen again. And he doesn't even try to web MJ.
Yeah, not again.
he knows, he knows his mistakes. And so he just dives and catches her, and it's so sweet.
It's very good.
I think some of my favorite scenes are just with Andrew Garfield, or with just all the Spider-Men together.
That's fair.
Whenever the Spider-Men are in the room, anyway.
Yeah. Are there any non-Spider-Man related favorite scenes? Because I have 2.
Non-Spider-Man related scenes. I do kind of enjoy this scene where Norman, it took me a second, where Norman Osborn, Green Goblin, first shows up in the universe, and he, is very confused. He doesn't understand what's happening. He whips off his goblin mask, the original Green Goblin mask, and he smashes it because it's, telling him to do bad things again, like telling him how awful he is and how worthless he is, and how, he'd be better off dead or with, the goblin taking over forever or whatever. And he just smashes it and runs away. And it's you can see how great of an actor Willem Dafoe is in that scene, and in every scene, honestly. But yes, in that scene, you also see how much the Green Goblin affects him, and how much he really wants this thing out of him. He does not want to be affected by this. There's no cure for him. He doesn't have a cure. And in the Tobey Maguire movies, there are scenes where he is trying to fight against the Green Goblin, but this scene really just kind of drives it home that he is struggling basically with his mental health.
Yeah, well, I think in the Tobey Maguire movies, it seemed like it was a temptation that he had, that he was trying not to give into, but he kind of maybe wanted to a little bit. And this one, it does not even seem like he wants to be a part of that. It seems like something that is pulling him away from who he wants to be, and it's just a lot more sad, impactful, and everything else. That was going to be one of the ones that I mentioned, is just when he's at the homeless place talking to Peter's aunt, and eventually Peter comes in and he explains his stuff, and it's just very sad. Willem Dafoe is very good. Or later on, when he does the switch back Tom Holland's there, doing his spider sense thing, trying to figure out which one of these villains is going to go evil and try to attack me. And eventually he catches the goblin about to do evil things. And Willem Dafoe's face just goes from concerned or confused, whatever, to just evil grimace. And it's just like, ooh, Willem, way to go. But the one I was going to mention, other than Willem Dafoe being Willem fucking Dafoe, is it's very loud.
People who desire to make their cars as loud as possible. I didn't have to finish.
But the other scene I really liked was the one where Ned first puts on the ring and starts doing the stuff with MJ. Mm-hmm. Just because, I don't know, I like seeing them together. Just, Peter's pals trying to, like, figure shit out. Also, Ned's grandma. Fucking great. he has a great grandma. And he's very magically inclined. Like, he just puts that shit on and goes to town. And something about him just being capable made me very excited. Like, I just...
Well, yeah. Because Ned is such a wholesome character. He's so fun, and he loves Peter so much. And he brings up... when he first meets Doctor Strange, he's like, my grandma says magic runs in our family, and sometimes I get tinglings in my hands. And Doctor Strange is just kind of like, oh, you should talk to your physician about that. Like, he just kind of brushes it off because, you don't expect it. But obviously that was a little clue as to what would happen later when he was just effortlessly using the sling ring. Like, he didn't even need to practice as long as Stephen or have his life be in immediate danger. He just was like, you know what? I want to see my friend. I'm going to make this little portal.
Exactly. So that was very exciting, is to see him getting something. Also, he has a scene later on with the Spider-Man where he's just trying to get some information from the older Spider-Man, like, hey, what'd your best friend do? Yeah. And they both are just like, well, mine turned evil and tried to kill me. And
mine died in my arms after he tried to stab me.
And the other one didn't say anything. He's just like, yeah. Just commiserating. And a few minutes later, he tells Peter, like, I promise I won't turn evil and try to kill you.
Yes. Which makes everyone think he's going to turn evil and try to kill Tom Holland.
Yeah. I mean, Ned,
which is unfortunate.
I'm pretty sure his character's name, Ned, that guy in the comics, is Hobgoblin eventually. Mm-hmm.
Which might be part of the next movie. Maybe. But the after scenes credit.
Yes.
But we'll get there.
Yes. Anything else you want to mention about the core?
Not really. Just that it was a fantastic movie, and every scene with all three Spider-Men in it was great.
Indeed.
After all is said and done, we've, convince you to go watch the movie, even with all these spoilers that you have gotten. The very end. So here, I mean, if you don't mind spoilers, but you don't want the end spoiled, here, maybe don't listen to this part. But in the very end, the only way to save the fabric of their universe, to save it from cracking and breaking and having all of these different universes colliding and jumping into their own, is for everyone to forget, not that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, but to forget Peter Parker in general. Mm-hmm. Forget he even ever existed. And this scene, I mean, there's a lot of scenes that I cried in. I know we kind of skipped past Aunt May dying, but it's a death scene. Like, it's what you expect. It's very sad. Somebody he loved died.
I mean, he's Spider-Man. It happens.
Yeah. Which, when MJ and Ned console him, is just also one of the best scenes ever.
Yeah, they just wrap him up. And,
what true friends, I swear.
Beautiful.
But this scene I did also tear up in because, he's telling MJ and Ned that they will forget him, but that he will find them and he will make them remember. It's a very emotional scene. It's very sad. But in the end, when he does find them, he decides not to tell them because they look so happy. And, MJ has a Band-Aid on her forehead, and he realizes, I'm still Spider-Man. So if they remember me, Peter Parker, and if they remember Spider-Man and all of this has happened, they could be in danger again. And he cares about them so much that he is willing to let them forget him forever if it means keeping them safe.
It was very, very sweet, very sad. I thought that was going to go a little differently. Mm-hmm. I thought that he was going to, decide not to tell them or whatever, but that MJ or Ned or one of the two was going to kind of like hint or maybe fully remember just like seeing him and realize, oh, that's this person I care about deeply. And it didn't happen, and I guess it's good it didn't happen. Like, it's whatever.
Or did he even give like an inkling? Like, not even like a, oh, hey, this guy looks familiar sort of thing.
Yeah. And I guess that's good. It made it more sentimental, more sad. But it's just like, oh, man, this has to change. It's going to change eventually.
Maybe. I mean, he Hermione'd all of them. The whole world.
Hermione'd the whole world. Goddamn.
Yeah. This is a very sad scene. So would you like to say what the end credit scene is?
Yeah, so there's a brief end credit scene in which Eddie Brock, Venom, is in the universe now due to, the shenanigans that were occurring earlier. And before he gets whooped back to his universe, he drops a little bit of goo, a little bit of venom.
Which wasn't Doctor Strange and Spidey looking for people outside of their own universe?
They were, but there.
But he's kind of he'd be hard to track if he didn't use his venom powers, because he's just a regular human from the outside.
Yeah. Also, if he wasn't doing anything, he was just hanging out in a diner or whatever.
Yeah.
Wasn't going to attract attention. And even though Venom's, Eddie Brock is just kind of like a dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the weirder part is that the piece of Venom that was left in their universe was left in their universe. Venom is a person.
Yeah. So it should have been
Disappeared.
Zipped up with all the rest.
Yeah.
That is a little confusing. That is a little odd. It's a little bit of a plot hole, I think.
Yeah.
But there's no Venom in this Spider-Man universe. So how else are we going to have that happen? Well, there's already a Venom movie.
Yeah. They also want to link, those universes, because Venom is 100% Sony. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Spider-Man is currently Sony, Disney, Fusion. And I think Sony's kind of wants to get a little more into that pot. It's whatever. In the end, comics, they do dumb shit all the time, break their own rules all the time just to get characters to meet up and beat each other up for no reason. Either way, I'm excited to see Venom.
Yeah, I'm curious as to who in Tom Holland's universe, in his Peter Parker universe, who will be infected.
First, him, of course. I love seeing Black Suit Spider-Man every time. Always so
I want to see edgy Tom Holland. It's going to be so weird. It's going to be just as weird as edgy Tobey Maguire.
They better have some Tobey Maguire.
And a throwback where Tom Holland just dances down the sidewalk.
Yes.
Goes to a club.
Yes. But Flash Thompson, he becomes Venom at least once or twice. So they have him. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Maybe.
It's a possibility.
He's so dorky, though, in these ones. Flash is so weird in the Tom Holland movies. He's a jock, but he's also a smart. He's also a douchebag. He's just so dorky and, silly.
I don't think he's a jock. I think he just has jock energy.
That's very possible.
I think
it's never really said that he's a jock. I've just always assumed because of the way he acted. So, yeah.
He just has big jock energy.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It would be interesting to see that version of Eddie Brock as Venom.
Yeah.
or that version of Flash Thompson as Venom. They don't have an Eddie Brock yet, but now that the world has forgotten who Peter is and he needs a job, I'm assuming he'll end up being maybe a research assistant and a photographer, just like in the other shows, movies, games, and comics. He has 2 jobs: research and photos.
Yep.
The only 2 things he's ever done other than pizza delivery.
Yeah, I mean, Superman's only ever been, a journalist or working for the newspaper.
Pretty much.
Batman's only ever been a rich man. He's never had an actual job.
Yeah, no. You're right.
His only job was to be Batman because he was like, I got a lot of money and I'm bored and rich.
Fair enough.
Take revenge on my parents. Or for my parents, not on my parents.
But if he does go into the photography thing again, there's a good chance he'll meet Eddie Brock there. A lot of times Eddie Brock is a rival photographer. Mm-hmm. So there's possibilities. There's options. I
remember Tobey Maguire and a 70s show boy being enemies. That was very strange. Also, when I was young, I would always get them mixed up.
Tobey Maguire and the 70s show guy?
Yeah. I don't even know the 70s show guy's name. Is Eric on the 70s show. That's all I know. I don't know his name in real life.
Nope.
I just know that I used to get him and Tobey Maguire mixed up when it came to Spider-Man.
So, this is for a different podcast. We're not going to talk about this now. But is there a more confusing casting choice for Eddie Brock than that guy?
It was interesting.
Anyways, 10 out of 10. Recommend. Go see the fucking movie.
Yes, it's very good. Even if you don't really like Spider-Man, you should go watch this one because it's very good. You do not have to watch the first 2 before you watch this one. I know some people say you should, but that's only because, the other movies are just good.
I mean, they're mildly relevant, but it catches you up everything you need to know in the very beginning. I guess for context, you might want to watch the older movies just to understand why Garfield is so sad.
Yeah. Watch Amazing Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 1, I guess.
Yeah. Honestly, just watch all the Spider-Man.
Yeah, just watch all of them.
Just watch it all. Who cares? Make a week out of it.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Thank you for watching. This has been a delight. We'll talk to you again next week. Probably talking about The Matrix.